Hey everybody, welcome back again to Ken Tamplin Vocal Academy, where the proof is in the singing. I'm continuing a really fun series where I'm taking these epic isolated vocal tracks. Next up is Korn. You guys know the singer is Jonathan Davis, or J Devil as he's referred to. But I am doing these epic isolated vocal tracks where I'm doing an analysis, a tutorial. I'm also talking about the recording process, etc. And I'm just having a really good time. It's just been so amazing. And this song is just as epic as it gets, I think. Korn is pretty epic. Jonathan Davis is also a really unique character because he has a very, very intense thing about him, both in the softer tones that he sings in and the heavier tones. Now, I know the song's been around for a while, but this is kind of some of the few bands that started more of the growl scream thing when it came in. They were certainly pioneers in that area and pioneers with that kind of energy and whatnot that happened. So I want to just kind of dive right in. Before I forget though, please like and subscribe to my channel. That'd be really cool. I have a singing course. The course is called How to Sing Better Than Anyone Else. You guys want to learn how to sing right here, KenTamplinVocalAcademy.com. You can check it out here. I have a free singing forum over there with over 20,000 people. So I can encourage you guys, if you want to learn how to sing, please check that out. But I'm just going to dive right in, play this singing. You guys can hear it. Here we go. Whoops.
Something takes a part of me, something lost and never seen. Every time I start to believe.
Now, so you get this sensation of kind of like a donkey on the edge. You know, something takes a part of me, something lost and never seen. Every time I start to believe, right? I get this feeling as a guy getting a straitjacket or something, and he's just completely freaked out in his own mind, right? So freak on a leash. I mean, you know, he's just like, you're kind of gonna let him out. Here's a freak, he's coming at you, you know, right? It's sort of, and he really conveys that very, very well, if you ask me. So as we're going through this, I want to point out a couple things that I noticed about the song way back in the day when it first came out, and it was reminded of to me now as I've re-listened to it, is it reminds me a lot though of Nirvana, Teen Spirit. Now hold on. Hear me out on this. It's got that, you know, if you really hold up on guns and bring your friends to pretend, right? And then it gets, you know, starts out kind of real light and real intimate and real kind of creepy, freaky. And then he throws, you know, with the lights out, entertain us. You know, he does it, you know, when it gets to the chorus. And we'll do that in a minute. But I just want to point out the nuance that you get between the two and the similarities of the real soft. I'm not saying that other bands don't have a soft verse and heavy chorus, soft verse, heavy chorus, but this is kind of modeled in the same, very similar way. So with a view towards that, let's listen to it again. I'll let it play longer and we'll go from there. Here we go.
Something takes a part of me, something lost and never seen. Every time I start to believe, something's raped and taken from me, from me.
Now, if you notice, he's getting more intense. So, something takes a part of me, something lost and never seen. Every time I start to believe, something's raped and taken from me, right? You could just get this sense of building intensity and building the freak out, the freak on a leash freak out. And you get that sensation, not sensation, he's really doing that. So
from me, life's gotta always be messing with me. Can't it chill and let me be free? Can't I take away all this pain? I try to every night, all in vain.
Now, I'm going to stop there for a second. So if you notice too, within the intensity, there is an element where you're in the story with him immediately, like you're kind of in his head, right? He doesn't give you any room for not being sucked into his demons in his, you know, talking to him inside of his head. So you get this whole vibe of this guy just like really freaking out and his suffocation and being, you know, like I said, I want to say straitjackety kind of suffocation feeling. So there's no escaping his pulling you into this emotion. It's really interesting. So here we go.
Sometimes I cannot take this place. Sometimes it's my life I can't taste. Sometimes I cannot feel my face.
Now that was interesting, that line, sometimes I cannot feel my face. Where have we heard that before? Well, The Weeknd, right? it kind of makes me wonder if The Weeknd might have been a Korn fan. I know that he's a lot more pop kind of oriented, but that's a really odd phrase. Correct me, guys. Help me out with in the comments sections if you've ever heard that phrase. It's not like saying, he's got a screw loose or, oh, what a freako, right? It's such a unique phrase. Sometimes I can't feel my face. I can't feel my face when I'm with you, and I love it, right? So I wonder if he kind of lifted that and used it for his own thing, and no one would notice because he's in the pop world and this isn't such a heavier environment. But that's kind of my take on it. But let's continue.
You'll never see me fall from grace. Something takes a part of me. You and I were meant to be. A cheap for me to let.
Now, I know there's a little glitch in the isolated track, so I kind of get these as I get them and I don't throw a fit. That's the only one like it in the song. But so you see the Nirvana resemblance, right? So, something takes a part of me, load up on guns and free yourself, right? Starts out, and if you notice the Nirvana thing, we talked about this before, it gets a little more intense, a little more intense, a little more intense until it finally gets to the chorus. And then it's got this kind of doubling vocal with like a lower vocal in it also in the chorus, just like it, and then it goes back to an intimate thing. Now, it's interesting too in the Nirvana track, there's like no effect on the vocal almost at all in the verses, just like this. There's like no effect almost at all in the vocals. Now, I'm going to add some stuff too, so for you audiophile guys and engineer guys, stick around because I have some fun stuff I want to show you at the end. But yeah, so if you notice it kind of goes into this Nirvana-like chorus, which is really intense. Let's do it again.
Something takes a part of me.
Multi-tracked.
You and I were meant to be. A cheap for me to lay. Something takes a part of me. Feeling like
right, so something takes a part of me. Right, it goes back into the kind of Cobain-y kind of thing. Now, we could do this together. Like, it's not, even though at that time there weren't a lot of people doing heavy stuff, people have gotten a lot heavier. I mean, you got Ginger and Taylor Momsen. I mean, the girls have even gotten heavier than this, So I want to point that out that, Scream and Growl and whatnot. Now, of course, there were bands like Pantera and other bands that were doing heavier stuff too, of course. But yeah, I want to point out that this was kind of the beginnings of a lot of that stuff. And then I want to show you the chorus. So, something takes a part of me, right? We can do this together. And the thing of it is what I teach in my course when you're trying to get this kind of distortion is you want to work up a clear, clean sound first. This is really important. So if I were to start this out, I wouldn't go straight to distortion. Something takes a part of me. You and I were meant to be. I know I'm messing up the lyrics and stuff. Sorry about that, but it's more about the actual analytics of the singing part. Okay, so as we're going through this, I really want you to get your brain around. If we start with a clean sound first, then we can gently lean into it a little bit more. So I'm just going to go, something takes a part of me. You and I were meant to be. And forgive the lyrics for me for a minute, guys, because I don't have the song memorized. But I'm going to lean into it. Something takes a part of me. You and I were meant to be. Right? You can start there and get a little more edge on it. And then you can get to full-blown, something takes a part of me. You and I were meant to be. Right? Now, if I multi-track that, I could get it as big, if not bigger than that, pretty easy, pretty quick. And I'm just some guy sitting here in my studio, kind of rapping this out on the fly. But I just want to point out to you, too, that that's kind of, how this stuff is put together. And then it goes back into this really soft section. Check it out.
feeling like a freak on a leash. Feeling like I have no release. How many times have I felt disease? Nothing in my life is free. Sometimes I cannot take this place.
Now, if you notice too, again, it got more and more intense. But in the pre-chorus, it's kind of like setting up for the chorus where he's doing something more melodic, right? With the lights out, entertain us! Before it gets to that kind of Nirvana-ishy kind of thing, there's like a bit of a pre-chorus that kind of sets you up for that. So let's check it out.
Sometimes I cannot take this place. Sometimes it's my life I can taste. Sometimes I cannot feel my face. You'll never see me fall from grace.
Okay.
Something takes a part of me. You and I weren't meant to be.
Now, I analyzed the chorus and I put it through a spectrum analyzer, and it looks like they flew in the first chorus into the second chorus and they didn't re-sing it, which I think is kind of lame because I think they did that on the pre-chorus too. I could be wrong, but I really don't think so. So it's kind of a bummer because I would want to get a little more uniqueness out of each section. It's not like it was rocket science to put all that together. It may have been interesting to write it and have it be so memorable and, you know, the success that it's enjoyed, but it's kind of cheesy to cut and paste, you know, choruses and stuff together, especially in a song like this when you could just do what I just did and belt it out. You know what I mean? So anyway, I'm going to pass this, go beyond this here. I don't know if I can do this justice. You know, it's somewhere between a crazy lunatic maniac, a freak on a leash, and an orangutan or something. I don't know. Right? So I'm not sure what he was on when he did that or how he even got the inspiration for it. Other than I know this was also part of a movie and there was, you know, there was some intrigue there. So maybe that was what inspired this part. I don't know, but anyway, so. All right, let's get past this here. Go! Now go! Here we go. It's the next section. All right, now check this out.
So, boy, something I'm numbing about. Boy, some things ain't boy. So, some.
Now, I know I talked about this before, but it sounds like Mike Patton or something. He has that kind of where you really hear a lot of the boom, that's you know, it's kind of like really intense, like just like, you know, I don't know what amphetamine was going on in this body at this moment, but check it out.
So, boy, something I'm numbing about. Boy, some things ain't boy. So, something I'm numbing about. Boy, some things ain't boy. Boy, something I'm numbing about. Boy, some things ain't boy. Boy, something I'm numbing about. Boy, some things ain't boy.
Can you guys please put in the, I'm sure that we could dig up the lyrics for this and find out what that was all about. Someone tell me, fill me in like what this whole section was all about, because I frankly don't know. Like I said, I know it's part of a movie, so maybe there's something in it that, you know, he turned into a gorilla or something. I don't know. Or he's just a freak. There it is. So
something takes a part of me.
See, again, this chorus is identical, so they flew it in again. They didn't even give us, you know, I'm not bagging on it because a lot of people do it, but they didn't even, you know, give us anything new here.
Hey, you and I weren't meant to be a cheap.
There's the little, and that's also how I know too that the chorus was reduplicated, because that has that exact same error in it, all three choruses. You know what I mean? So it's the exact same chorus. It would have been nice if they did something different.
Something
here.
Takes a part of me. Part of me. Part of me. Part of
Cool. Now, if you notice, you got more and more part of me, part part of me, part of me, part of me, right? You got more and more intense again on it. So there was this ebb and flow of, intensity and going back and forth on that. Now, what I want to do is I want to show you guys what this sounds like with the track, because it's one thing to hear it alone. It's another thing to enjoy it with the track, because the track really brings this stuff to life. So hold on, let's go here. And I've got the track here. So we're going to drop it in.
Something takes a part of me. Something lost and never seen.
So that gives it like a real kind of psycho sort of vibe to it, right? So this is definitely more psycho than Kurt Cobain and like Smells Like Teen Spirit. That's for sure. Another thing is it's got kind of a Chad Smith kind of drummy thing. So it's got kind of a Chili Peppers backbeat on the drums. Check this out.
Something takes a part
Right here.
of me.
Coming up.
Something lost and never seen. Every time I start to believe.
Couldn't you hear the Chili's doing something like that, or that kind of vibe, especially the later Chili stuff with Chad, because it's got that kind of backbeat drum beat to it?
Something's raped and taken from me, from me. Life's gotta always be messing with me. Can't it chill and let me be free?
And by the way, Ken, hello. Like, even though it's not in the chorus, they're kind of doing a very similar phasey, kind of sloshy, 60s psychedelic kind of line there in this section, similar to Nirvana, right? I mean, come on, guys, really? So let's go back. Now I did something where I thought was kind of interesting. I took the vocal, and what I did was I did some of my own effects. So check this out. I'm going to put them up, and then you could see how I did with it. Check this out. And mine's going to be a lot bigger. Now, I know their intent was to stay real intimate on it, so maybe it's overkill for me, maybe. But I kind of get the feeling, too, that if they were able to hide it and still stay big on it and keep it creepy, they might have liked that, too. So check it out.
Something takes a part of me.
That's mine. I'm going to show you his.
Something lost and never seen.
Okay, here's his.
Something takes a part of me.
Here's mine.
Something lost and never seen.
Here's his.
Every time I start to believe.
Here's mine.
Something's raped and taken from me.
Here's his again.
From me.
Right here.
Life's gotta always be messing
I'm going to leave
with
that in
me.
for a minute.
Can't it chill and let me be free?
Here's mine.
Can't I take away all this pain? I try to every night, all in vain.
Now, when we get to the chorus here, I would make it even bigger. So what I personally would do is, I'm going to show you right now, I set up a couple reverbs. And the reverbs I did is I wanted to keep them short because I wanted to stay within the spirit and the nature of the song. So I'm just going to bring in some big room reverbs, and that's it. I'm real short room reverbs. I'm not going to add anything else. And that's all I'm going to do, except I did take the vocal and drop the vocal down an octave. I put it over here on a couple more tracks where I'm going to put that in the chorus, so make the chorus even bigger. So let me first go ahead and do only his vocal. So here's his vocal and coming into the chorus.
Sometimes I cannot take this place. Sometimes it's my life I can't take.
Well, here's my version of that. Check this out. Tell me what you think. So here we go.
Sometimes I cannot take this place. Sometimes it's my life I can't taste. Sometimes I cannot feel my face. You'll never see me fall from grace.
Okay. Chorus.
Something takes a part of me. You and I were.
Now, by the way, did you notice the punch on that? The first time through, I was gonna mention this again. Here's this. So he didn't go, something takes a part of me. You and I were meant to be. You can clearly hear that they punched it. And I'm like, what a trip. Like, you couldn't sing the whole line. I don't know what actually happened, or maybe they didn't like it and they just redid it for whatever reason, but it doesn't take much to sing the whole line contiguously. But check it out, listen.
Something takes a part of me. You and
Hear that?
I were meant to be.
Okay, so that's his. Now I'm gonna do his, and then I'm gonna show you mine. So check it out. Here we go.
Something Something takes a part of me.
Mine.
You and I were meant to be.
Yes.
A cheap for me to lay. Something takes a part of me. Feeling
Cool.
like
Now let's check this out in the track. You tell me whose sounds bigger and whatever, and how you'd like to do it, because you guys can do this stuff on your own. Now let me show you what I did. So I took his vocal. It was already in kind of a weird stereo pan and everything. By the way, center information is important if something hard left, hard right. So most of what they did was a lot of center information. So I took his lead vocal, I left it in the center because that kind of maintains the integrity of the center and the strength of center information, like a kick drum, a snare drum, so forth, right? Then I made a copy and I put one out about 3 frames about 9 o'clock, and then I took another one, I made another copy, put it out about 6 frames, and I made it, over here about 3 o'clock, right? So it's kind of not hard pan, but it's pan like this. And then I made another copy in octaves, and then I put it all hard left and right. I put these room reverbs on there just now. So I want you to kind of A-B this again. So we're gonna put the track in itself. Maybe I had the track in the whole time, darn it. Let's listen to it without the track. Here we go, hold on.
something takes a part of me. You and I were meant to be a cheat for me.
Here we go.
Something takes a part of me.
All right, now let's listen to it with the track. Here we go. So track and him. Here we go.
Something takes a part of me. You and I were meant to be a cheat for me to lay. Something takes a part of me.
Okay, now let me do it again. It's kind of deceiving because when that dropout happens in the middle of the thing, it kind of goes, oh, what's happened? It's like, it makes it look like I'm making a mistake over here, and I'm not. So I want to do it one more time with the track. I'm going to put his in first. I'm just going to go back and forth between the two so you can hear it. Here's his alone, his alone with the track.
Something takes a part of me. You and I were meant to be a cheat for me to lay. Something takes a part of me.
Okay, now here's me.
Feeling like a freak on a leash. Feeling like
mine.
I have no release.
Here's his.
How many times have I felt disease?
Me.
Nothing in my life is free.
Okay, now let's go back and listen to that with the actual track. Here we go. Here's his alone. And I want to do this, guys, just to give you some production ideas here. So let me go back to the verse here. Here it is right here.
Feeling like a freak on a leash. Feeling like I have no release.
All right, it's hard to do all this at the same time. Let's do this one more time. Here we go. Messing with 8 buttons. All right, let's do this again. On the verse, here's his track. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, and
Feeling like a freak
him.
on a leash.
Me.
Feeling like I have no release.
Still me.
How many times have I felt disease?
Him.
Nothing in my life is free.
Okay. So I just wanted to show you that stuff to give you some idea of how we can make things bigger, more interesting production-wise, and still stay within the spirit of the song, okay? Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. I enjoyed doing it for you, and I have a lot more of these headed your way, so definitely check out my next video.